Those of you that are easing in, I want to welcome you back to day 2. On behalf of the Executive Committee of the Texas Alliance of Groundwater Districts, on behalf of our 2 staff members, Leah Martinson and Beth Hood, on behalf of Andrea and her team with IME or IEM, whatever the acronym is, we just know Andrea, thank you. On behalf of that group, we want to welcome you back to this session. With that said, I want you to see on the screen, and this is a question and a couple of things I want to point out. One is, how many of you are directors within a groundwater district? Those people that we're held accountable to. If you see your district's name up there, this is a personal thank you to you for supporting this event. There's a handful of districts, a cadre of professional support people in the professional arena, from attorneys to consultants that see the value in this event. And I'll tell you, we support our staff and our activities throughout the year with some of the profit, if not all of the profit, help us keep our doors open, and we appreciate you. If you are not on that screen and you're a director, I work for Clearwater, and I'm proud of my board for, one, supporting me these last 4 years, almost 5, being on the executive committee. And those of you that support your general managers, your staff in their activities with TAG, we want to say thank you, as I do to my board all the time. It does take us away from our counties, but it builds part of that network and those interrelationships that are so important across this state. I also remind myself that we're a tapestry. And in my mind, a tapestry is a blend of people with different look, different cultures, different geographical regions, different ideologies. But at the end of the day, we're all here for the same thing, to support the natural resource and the people of the communities we serve. And if we're not here for those goals, or we're judging one another who has those same goals but has a different ideology, I beg to differ. We need to embrace one another. We need to continue to hear, see, and talk. And that's what this event has evolved into these last 8 years. I also think back to the original districts that started this, and we showcased them a year ago. If you were here, my gosh, it was neat to see where this organization has come in spite of some of the people that were in it, such as our original executive director, Greg Ellis over here, and he's giggling because he knew when I saw him sitting there, I'd say something like that. But as the outgoing president, I have one request. Does anybody have a penny? I need a penny. Come on, David, bring me that penny. Those of you that are old timers, Dr. Harris, I'm going to put this on you. If somebody walked up to you and gave you a pocket knife as a gift, would you accept that as a gift? A penny, just a penny. Thank you, David. What's the old lore in Texas? Somebody gives you a pocket knife as a gift, that's bad luck, right? If you didn't know that, it is. And so to the executive board for giving me my knife, I just borrowed one from my good friend. I'm going to leave this penny up here for good luck for this organization, and thank you for the time that I served, and thank you for that pocket knife. That goes back to those on the executive board. Unbeknownst to me, I was getting a knife, but I also had a Moormaker knife made for my cohorts. 2 of them quickly saw that and brought it to my mind. Janet Adams, she texted me and she said, "I'm sorry, Dirk, I love the knife, but I can't take it, but I'll give you a penny for it," right? Ron Fiesler, are you in the house? He's still in bed. There he is. Poor Ron, he couldn't find a penny. So he gave me $1. And I appreciate that, because that is part of who we are. It's our heritage to remember those things. Second is, you don't borrow a pocket knife from somebody if it's closed, or correct? You borrow my knife, I'm going to open it, I'm going to give it back to you, and don't give it back to me in closed fashion. That's just old wives' tales. But the truth is, we are an organization that has some heritage, and one of the heritages is good, sound policy devised and discernment at the local level, whether it's multiple county districts or single county districts, that good policy, and you've heard it time and time again. My good friend Tim Brown was one of my former county commissioners and one of the best friends I have in the world. And he always says, you cannot make good decisions without discernment. And how are you going to make discernment in the groundwater world? Have a scientific understanding. Not one that you're the only one that has that scientific. We're not omniscient in our ability to understand science, but within that word, the great discerner has put the word science in that. And we need to embrace that, and we need to learn more as things come out. And so with that, I want to say, again, good morning, and I'm going to hit a few highlights. We have those sponsors. Please spend time with them. Please let them know how much we appreciate them for their commitment to this organization. Secondly, is our exhibitors out in the hall. If you would, put up that app. Does anybody have put the app up? There it is. Now, I'm not too techie, but I can figure out an app. I got on there and I actually registered. I did all of what was asked of me, and then there's a bingo game in there. Has anybody spotted the bingo game? Put your hand up if you have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. My challenge to you as you're listening here in a while, look at the bingo game, because that is in response to a criticism by our exhibitors in past conferences. A criticism and a bingo game, and the answer is we didn't come to their booths often enough. We didn't get to know them, and they are what's making this work. Criticism last year, breakfast was too expensive. Was it expensive this morning? Absolutely not. What a fabulous breakfast out there. Is it because of TAG? And the answer is no. It's because of the sponsors that put their money there for us. So you go to the bingo game, and it's going to encourage you to go to those booths, get those codes from them, put it back into the app, and at the end, we want to see how many of you went to those booths. I can't encourage you enough, because without them, we can't make this happen. So before we also talked about the sponsors, I also want to put a handout to, I believe there were 6 of us. I'm not going to name all the names, but I'm one of them. 6 of our members on the executive board and members at large, and 2 of them know who they are. And I'm going to make it a point to talk to their district directors that are here, because 6 people picked up the phone and got $60,000 worth of sponsorships within a matter of 24 hours a year ago, and they did it again this year. You know who you are. One of them's really bald, balder than me, and I've known him since 1981, and it was his idea. He said, hey, just roll our sleeves up, let's do it ourselves. A year ago, and we did it again, and thank you to those men and women that are on that committee that made that happen. This morning, we're going to hear a panel discussion, conversations to provide additional important perspectives of groundwater stakeholders, the people that we interact with, those of us that manage districts. We're then going to go into our legislative session with the leadership from our attorneys that will give us a debriefing on what we have seen and what happened during the session and what we should and could expect during this interim. And as an Aggie, I'm excited about the fact that we have John Sharp coming, our chancellor from the Texas A&M University System, speaking today. How about all good Aggies say, whoop? All right. I look forward to hearing him in a setting like this. He's got a little rough language at times when a private conversation. I doubt we'll hear those 4-letter words. But as an extension employee, former extension employee, I love the fact that he's a man that demands excellence in the people that are under him. And it'll be exciting to hear what he has to offer today. Also, after the lunch, we'll have additional technical and focused breakout sessions, especially for those managers, staff, and our directors. We also want to remind you the breakfast this morning was sponsored, but we also have a really neat sponsored activity this evening from 8 to 10 out at the Lukenbach Pavilion. So obviously with the name Lukenbach Pavilion, there'll be some drinks and there'll be some conversations. And I want to shout out to the Edwards Aquifer Authority for sponsoring that. Thank you. That was well received. It was the #1 appreciated activity beyond the meetings last year.